What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye and new video. Very, very, very late night version of Late Night with Chig, where I talk to you about a few things relating to the Arsenal. Apologies, this is a bit late. Quite frankly, I had some stuff to do. Um, Done them, and I felt like I owed you guys at least one more video. So this one won't be any kind of it won't be a particularly long video, but I had some thoughts and I wanted to kind of just talk to you guys about them. Obviously, Freddie Ljungberg is our at least interim manager. That was something I very much wanted. I felt that it would be a smoother transition to a new manager by having someone who's worked with the players and knows what time it is. And Alexander, to answer your question, it is 12:35 in the morning. This is some commitment for your ass, let me tell you. So yeah, I kind of just had this thought process that um, obviously I wanted Jumbo to come in and be the person who's worked with the youngsters, worked with the players, know the players, and to transition it onto a manager who's capable of lifting this team to another level. And obviously, all day since Emery's been announced to have left, um, people have had their own ideas as to the direction we should go to. And in typical Arsenal fan fashion, we can't all agree on one direction. Some people want us to go down the Nuno route. Some people believe Nuno is overrated. A lot of Arsenal fans disturbingly want to go to Poch, which is just like baffling to me. You have some that actually want Ancelotti. Bit of a surprise. I feel like that's a really safe option to the point where I feel like it will only go one way. Thank you, Alexander. I appreciate the donation. True Arsenal fan. Kudos, mate. I try, brother. I try. Commitment to you guys more than anything. Commitment to you guys. Um, yeah, but thank you again for that donation. And there are people have all kinds of ideas. Even I've thrown out various different ideas because, quite honestly, it's a risk whatever direction we go. I don't know why though. The name that keeps coming back to me is Massimo Allegri because on paper, he's the strongest candidate that is available. He's out of a job. He's said to want the Arsenal job. He's someone who has won leagues, generally goes into a team and improves it. Is a big. It may require a big name to get some of the egos at Arsenal under check. We saw some stories today about how in the Europa League about a month ago, Emery was left sitting by himself, and the players regularly used to, tease him and make fun of his accent and you know more often than not kind of like just take the mick out of his instructions and stuff, which means that tells me that you're going to need a player that's going to come in and command the respect of the players, command and not let the dressing room dictate what is happening elsewhere. And I think the one thing I will say for Allegri, he doesn't look like the type that's going to get dictated to by a bunch of punks. So I do like that much about him. But there are certain things about him that worries me a little bit. And this is where even I have to hold my hands up and admit I was wrong about something. Allegri, hold on. Annie Ruda M, thank you very much for the donation. Chig, would I take Antonio Conte, proven winner, Premier League proven, built this Juventus side, just now doing bits at Inter, will improve our defense. I promise I'll answer your question in a minute. Thank you very much for the donation, though, bro. Thank you. And there are a lot of pluses generally for Allegri, but my gut feeling on the matter is that I feel like he just wouldn't be the right fit for us. Because I must admit, I have to hold hands up, and I said that I thought initially Allegri wouldn't be the worst choice because he's had a house in London, which means presumably he's been learning English. And I broke my own rule. Assumptions are the mother of all what? If you know the film, you know the line. And I broke my own rule and I assumed that Allegri had been English. Um, a lot of the stories now have come out to say that actually he's had a lot of difficulty with English himself. And we don't want to go from another situation from a manager who could barely talk to these players to another manager who, again, can barely talk to these players. Another thing that put me off a little bit, and I must admit it, and maybe this shouldn't put me off, but I must admit it did, and that was the fact that Arsenal interviewed him before. And the belief, I never knew this at the time, the belief was that Allegri did not get the job because he came across as a little bit arrogant. Now, on the face of it, you're absolutely right, because I know what you're thinking already. What does that matter? But my concern is more about, all right, so what happens when he persists on using players like Xhaka or Mustafi because, I don't know, he thinks it's right for whatever reason and it's clearly not working? Is this manager so, arrogant that he can't accept when things need to be changed? Because we've had two managers that are very kind of arrogant in that respect, where they couldn't just accept that something wasn't working. They almost had to shove this square peg in a round hole in the hope that it would work. And I don't really want us to go in that same direction. So I think it does pose an interesting question. He can barely speak English. He doesn't know anything or hasn't experienced anything out of the Italian league significant. Yes, he did well with AC, but I've been told by many, many people today, particularly when I had this thought on Twitter, I've been told by many, many people today just see the way he left AC Milan and see how good of things AC Milan fans have to say about him. And then at Juventus, as far as I can tell, he left that club through similar means to the way Emery left PSG. And it's like, I don't want to go for an arrogant version or an Italian version of Emery. Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting Allegri's it, but all these people that were talking that talk about Allegri today, 90% of them were talking that talk about Emery. And this is why, for me, the key appointment, there has to be a key appointment. It needs to be the right one. I've seen people talk about Arteta. I think one thing I will say, and as much as I'm a big proponent of Freddie taking temporary charge because he's a legend, he'll unite the Arsenal fans, and this is someone that's been working with the youngsters. Generally speaking, I don't want a manager that has never managed before. So to me, that rules out Arteta, of course. You guys already know that I don't like the idea of having Tottenham's leftovers. This is a man, I don't care if Poch, everybody I've spoken to recently is talking to me about how good a coach Poch is. All right, cool. He was so good. Why did he get sacked? Sometimes it's a what. I've said this expression before and I'll say it again. This is a what have you done for me lately business. What have you done for me lately? And I see lately he left the club in 14th. And by the end of the matter, yes, Spurs fans, I think, will always respect him, but they were all glad to see him gone. It's this big arrogance. Yes, I get it. A manager has to do it their own way, but I also don't want to see Callum Chambers at right back. And he's someone who persists and playing players in wrong positions. In the end, that was his downfall when it came to Tottenham. Um, I don't really know what I want. I want Freddie to do well first and foremost because we need this club to pick back up. I feel like an English-speaking manager will help. Um, Obviously, I have foreign parents, so the idea of me discriminating against anyone foreign is not going to happen. But I will say, purely on the basis of communication with the players, I would say a bare minimum requirement has to be you got to be able to speak English. Because, yes, I would say 90% of the squad speak English. So communicate in English. So these guys are not sitting on the bus taking the piss instead of taking care of business. So, but that doesn't mean to say I want Big Sam in or Neil Warlock in or any other stupid suggestions people will make. It's all about the right appointment. If Freddie goes on to do what I've always said it, you set Freddie a target. If he meets that target, as far as I'm concerned, he's earned his position. But you don't do it United, and because Arsenal may go on a good run, you give him the job before the end of the season. That's what I don't want us to do. You got to find a balance and equilibrium somewhere. As for someone else, as for the brother who asked me if I'd have Conte, of course I'd have Conte. Of course. But I would have had Conte before he went to Juventus because I could see he was a good coach. I could see what he was doing. So it's not surprising me that he has the success at Juve that he's having. We've got no chance of getting him. Just like we had no chance of getting Rodgers. And I'm at fault also for the Rodgers thing because 18 months ago, I laughed at the mere suggestion that we could have Brendan Rodgers. And Brendan Rodgers is killing it now. I think whatever happens, I'd love us to not just go for Max Allegri because he has the best CV. Sometimes the best CV, and I've said this before, sometimes in recruitment, just because you have the best CV doesn't necessarily mean you're the best person for the role. I've said it all along secretly to myself. My secret wish, yes, I would love Rafa. Rafa, you guys know, would be my first choice because as a 2-year fix-em-up job, he speaks English, he knows the league, he can focus on defense. To me, this would be the job that I'd give to him. Having said that, I'll be honest with you, I have a very, 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 very secret hope and wish, and it's very controversial. My secret hope and wish is that Arsenal interview everyone and then they determine purely on the basis that they gave a good interview, they like everything about this person, and they go with them. I like the idea and the bravery of saying, F it, Eddie Howe, this is your time. Let's see what you got. Because ultimately, I don't care what decision we make, it's going to be a gamble. It's going to be a lottery. But I like the idea of taking a chance on a younger, fresher person that is you know what? Actually, what I like more than anything, someone completely different from Arsene Wenger and Emery. I love that idea. And I think Eddie Howe could be that guy. So don't get me wrong, because people would take the headline, Chig wants Eddie Howe. It's not necessarily what I'm saying. What I'm saying is my first choice is Rafa, sure. But my secret choice, my secret hope, actually Eddie Howe. There, I said it. I'll be real with you. You guys let me know what you think though. Leave it in the comments below. You can see this light is beaming in my eye. So I'm probably gonna get some I'm gonna get some rest. But yes, thank you very much. And also just to respond to Jeremiah, I know Jeremiah's a cool guy, but he's clearly decided to take me on tonight. Simple answer to your query, my bro. Eddie Howe has had more Premier League experience than Chris Wilder. Very, very simple. You know, so it's simple as that. We've been with Bournemouth for some time. I think people forget this. So yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I'd think about doing. Here's the thing though. Whatever you guys doubt me, I come through. And if Eddie Howe was to get the job and do well, I want that real groveling. Okay, Chid, you're the guy. You're the man. Remember, we all sniveled and laughed at the idea of Brendan Rodgers. Look at us now. Just saying. I'm just saying. Think about it. All right. I'm going to get out of here because it is late. I'll be back tomorrow to do a preview of the Norwich game, which I'm suddenly looking forward to. Go figure. Freddie's first game, so that should be exciting. So do join me for that. I'll probably be doing it tomorrow afternoon. So stay tuned. I'll also be, people have been asking me left, right, and center, when are you doing chick flick stuff? I promise this weekend I will be putting some stuff out on chick flicks. Hold me to it. Hold me to it. This weekend I'll be putting reviews out on chick flicks. So do subscribe to Chig Flicks, CHIFLIX, all one word. And yeah, that's pretty much that. I will also be doing an Andy Ruiz AJ preview, as well as a 245 preview with Ola. That will be next week. So do keep an eye out on that too. All right. I think that's it. Please do stick a like on this video before you go. Please do that. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All right. I'm out of here. Take care. Deuces.